Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Schlimdor, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a challenge video. Yes, the video is not clickbait. I just want to say first off that I am sorry for the delay on the video. I've been working hard to get this video on time, but unfortunately it wasn't. I had to take a lot of stuff out of this video, so just note that. This is one of the hardest things that I've ever done. So, cut me some slack on how long it took me to make this. Throughout the past year, I've seen a trend pop up in the FNAF community. Beat Five Nights at Freddy's without some kind of core mechanic. I think people have done it before this, but I think Chicken Ninja was the first one who made it an actual trend. I've seen FNAF 1 without lights, FNAF 2 without lights, FNAF 3 without rebooting, which is really impressive, and FNAF 4 without sound. And even FNAF 4 without doors. Credit to the Bones 5 for that one. I didn't want to just repeat a challenge that somebody had already done, so I came up with this idea. We're going to find out in this video, can you beat FNAF Sister Location's Ennard boss fight without sound? And I just want you to know, this challenge tested my patience. The Ennard boss fight is really unique in the fact that it combines one thing from each FNAF game, and is genuinely one of the only things I like about FNAF Sister Location. One of the most important things is sound cues. They're actually so important that you can beat the entire boss fight straight up without them. The strat for the Ennard boss fight in the main game is to listen for sound cues on whatever side Ennard is on, check the cams to see where he is, and once he reaches the door, you shut the door. Obviously, we don't have sounds, so we're going to have to figure something else out. Let me introduce you to intervals. Intervals are times that the animatronic can move. Let's say you have an animatronic with an AI value of 10 and can move every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, that animatronic will roll a random number between 1 and 20. Let's say that within a 5-second interval, that animatronic rolls a 5. Since the 5 is less than or equal to our AI value, the animatronic will move. Now let's say in that same 5-second interval, the animatronic rolls a 15. Since 15 is greater than or equal to 10, the animatronic will fail that movement opportunity. Unfortunately, Ennard does his intervals and AI a bit differently. As we know from the Sister Location custom night, there isn't much AI in Sister Location. This made it more skill-based, but also removed one of the most entertaining things to talk about in the games. Ennard cannot move within the first 30 seconds as there is a speech going on in the background. But after those 30 seconds are up, Ennard's AI will start at 1 and increase by 0.2 every second. Ennard's intervals are also different throughout the night. He will start out at a 10-second interval, then he'll go to 5-second intervals, then 2-second intervals, and by the end you'll be all the way at 1-second intervals. The way we're going to beat this night is by checking cam 01, 05, and 02 on every single interval. How do we do this? I mean, there isn't just a timer out there that has every single interval in the entire time of the night, is there? Oh hey, look, there is! The Bones 5 generously created an interval timer for the Ennard boss fight. As such, this will allow us to beat the night by checking the intervals. I'll have the interval timer on screen at all times so that you guys know when I'm about to check the cameras. The first strategy we're going to try is to check the cams on every single interval. For the first 30 seconds, you don't have to do anything. After those 30 seconds, you'd want to check the cameras on every single interval throughout the entire night. But, unfortunately, by doing this, you'll run out of power by 5 AM. I just don't have enough power, man. So, we need a better strategy. Ennard can only enter an attack phase on every 2 movement opportunities. We can use this to our advantage by not having to check one interval every time we chip flip the cameras. What I mean by that is that we can check on every other interval in order to save some power. The strategy is this. Check the cameras on every other interval until you see Ennard in the hallways or at your door. If you happen to see Ennard in one of the cameras, start checking the cameras on every single interval. Especially whenever Ennard gets to the door, because you're going to want to try and open the door right as Ennard gets away. Unfortunately, this strategy doesn't work either. as unfortunately you still run out of power even with this new system. I started to believe that maybe this challenge was impossible, but then I started to experiment. If Ennard's AI was really low for the first few minutes of the night, then we can just sit in the office and wait and pray to RNG that we don't die. I started out just checking the cameras on 1 minute on the global timer, but unfortunately I still didn't have enough power to win. So I started to do it 1:30, and I tried this for a while. I do believe that you can win at 1 minute and 30 seconds, but you just have to have an insane amount of luck to do so. I found that the lowest time that you could start the night and still have enough power to win was 2 minutes on the global timer. The problem with this strat is that I had already found that only 50% of runs on the 1:30 strat would actually make it into a run. With that in mind, you can see how much luck is involved with this challenge. Just getting a run past 2 minutes was already hard enough, but then you could have a situation where Ennard ends up camping your door and you lose all the power that you just saved. But now that I knew that I could have enough power at 2 minutes, we could start with the third strategy. The third strategy was simple. Once you've entered into the boss room, start your interval timer. Once you've started your interval timer, sit in the office for 2 minutes. With good RNG, you would be able to survive. Once you survive 2 minutes, check on the exact 2-minute interval, and then start checking every other interval if Ennard is not there. If Ennard is there, check on every single interval until he gets to the door or Ennard leaves, depending on which stage he was in whenever you caught him. After that, all you need to do is pray to luck. Checking the cams on every other interval when you don't see him will give you ample time to catch him before he gets into his attack phase. And if you see him in the hallway, checking the cameras on every single interval will allow you to catch him on his attack phase. The problem with this is that if you get really bad luck and Ennard ends up camping a hallway or a door, then you're going to lose too much power and the run is invalid unless you get some really good endgame luck. But you'll see soon that even that is pretty much impossible. I'm going to show you the amount of times I died during this challenge to make you just understand how difficult this one is. And that just evidently I did not get good RNG there. It didn't matter. It literally did not matter. If I didn't, I would not have enough power to do that. I'm not gonna have enough time. I just don't have enough power, man. I want you to understand that at this point in the challenge, it had been going on for 3 days straight. I was done trying this. I was really done. I was starting to believe that this challenge was truly impossible. The amount of times that you flip the cameras throughout the night really does make a difference whenever you're playing. Like, I went back in the middle of this challenge and beat it regularly, and it really is just the amount of times that you flip the cameras that makes such a difference between doing this with sound and without sound. Now, just some general thoughts about this. I just proved that it was possible, so I did that. But I should not have beaten this one on this attempt. I got so lucky with luck, and you'll see, especially towards the end, because at the end it's 1 second intervals. So I have to flip up the camera for 1 second, watch the timer, and make sure that 1 second has not passed where there's an interval, and then flip up the cameras again on another interval. I have to flip the cameras, check 3 cameras, and then flip the cameras back down within 1 second of each interval to try and catch Ennard before he gets to my doors. That's really what made this challenge so difficult. It's just the end game. But once you have the skill and you have the luck to do it, you can do it really, really easily. Now you're gonna count a lot of intervals towards the end here that I miss, especially during the 1 second intervals. And I'll have timestamps on screen to show you the intervals at what time that happens. But, and again, this is an unscripted one, which is why I sound so, like, sound like I'm getting trailed off at certain points. But you'll just notice that I miss a lot of intervals towards the end, and that's just because of how fast it goes. I'm sure a really skilled player can do this a lot better than I can, and I encourage people to do it, because this is a really fun challenge. I had more fun doing this, because it wasn't as monotonous. I said in my sister location video that it was a monotonous task to just continuously do the exact same loop over and over again, and I stand by that. The Ennard boss fight has so much randomness and luck into it, as well as skill, that it keeps it entertaining no matter how you're doing it. Now, doing it without sound is a bit strange at first, because you're like, oh, why can't I hear the boss music? But once you get used to it, and once you're just used to looking at a screen with no sound coming through your headphones, or in my case, I just straight up took my headphones off and put them down. But once you get used to just not hearing sound and just playing the game becomes incredibly easy. But it's a really interesting challenge. It's something that will keep you interested and intrigued for days at a time. The sister location video where I did 1020, there were several days where I just did not want to do it. I just did not want to get up and play that, because it just didn't feel fun after a while. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy the custom night. The enjoyment I got from the custom night is still there. I still want to play it sometimes, and just choose not to, because I don't want to go through that again. But I didn't enjoy it as much as I did other challenges. But I'm going to stop yapping in your ear and just allow you to enjoy the road. The nights last 8 minutes and 55 seconds, like the first game. So, that's another reason. The power drain is so unforgiving, and the night lasts so long, that it really just becomes a game of fighting the power. Because there's going to be several runs, if you do this, that you will beat Ennard completely. He will never be able to kill you, and then all of a sudden you run out of power and just die immediately. And there's going to be runs where you make a mistake within the first few minutes. I mean, it's just a matter of doing the right strategy and beating the night, or doing the right strategy and then just making sure that you hit your intervals, making sure that you know where Ennard is, and making sure that if you see Ennard, you flip on every single interval. I'm going to stop yapping in your ear and just allow you to enjoy the road. I don't talk in this because there's nothing for me to commentate about, so here you go. Here's me beating the Ennard boss fight with the interval timer on screen. I did it! Oh my God, I did it! I did it!
As the trees sway in the wind, so also do emotions sway between star-crossed lovers.
You burned down my house?
You call that a house? It was like a morgue in there.
I
I
did
may be undead, but you're heartless.
You need to see your son.
The baby isn't mine.
Give me that popcorn!
Cat.
Because
Sounds
I
like something
did
bad
it!
From your side of the family.
Well, how
And I
about
got my
I'm
exotic
keeping the
butters
diamond
too.
ring.
The joke's on you. I found it in a kid's meal.
You bought a kid's meal? Oh, Vlad!
Clara.
As the hair on the back of a cat stands up straight, so also does the love between Vlad and Clara stand up against all obstacles. But what about the baby? What about the back child support? Stay tuned next season for those answers and more.